topic gets raised, and it was actually a troll from my other channel that came over here to start trolling me here. But it's an interesting point. Well, this guy liked Suicide Squad and he didn't like Dark Knight? An idiot. Alright, let's talk about how we grade movies. Let's take Dark Knight and Suicide Squad and I'll come back to those, because I have a point to that. So here's Friday the 13th, Schindler's List, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and Dodgeball. What do these four movies have in common? I like all four. What do these movies have in common outside of that? Absolutely nothing. So you have Friday the 13th, which is, and I'm talking about the remake. So I'll just go ahead and put 2009 over top. So that way I can really make people angry. The 2009 Friday the 13th, which was commercially successful, but critically was perceived as a failure, even though critics' reviews for this Friday the 13th were way better than for previous Friday the 13th. Do people forget Jason Takes Manhattan? Oh. Anyhow, this movie I liked. I really did. It's not Schindler's List. Dodgeball is really, really funny. It's not Schindler's List. Schindler's List is a movie that you can sit through once and probably bawl your eyes out at the end. You're not going to do that at the end of Friday the 13th, Dodgeball, or Raiders. Although, if you're gonna watch two movies back to back, you can go with Schindler's List and then Raiders, so you can see the Nazis get what they deserve. Am I right? I didn't even think of that connection until I'm looking at it now. So, Friday the 13th, you got a bunch of teenagers who go to a camp, and Jason's there to meet them and greet them with a machete. Schindler's List, you've got a movie about this wonderful man who starts out probably doing it for the wrong reasons, in terms of why he is getting Jewish workers to work in his factory, because it's cheap, right? And it ends up that he's trying to save the lives of these people, because his factory, the ones that work for him, are spared during a time when Jewish people are not spared. Dodgeball is about a bunch of guys throwing pink rubber balls at each other. Raiders of the Lost Ark is about Harrison Ford being awesome. Again, none of these movies have anything to do with each other. So if I grade them out of 10, I'm going to give this Friday the 13th 8. I'm going to give Schindler's a 10 out of 10. If you could have a number higher than 10 out of 10, I would give it that. Dodgeball, I'm going to give a 9 out of 10. Raiders, probably an 8, because there are parts of Raiders that kind of always bored me. This doesn't mean I think Friday the 13th is as good as Raiders. This means that for what Friday the 13th is aiming to be, I think it does just as well as Raiders does down here. Schindler's hits it right out of the park. Whether it's the way they have the girl in the red dress, whether it's the relationship between one of the more cruel characters in the movie and this Jewish secretary that works for him, or it's a bunch of guys throwing pink rubber balls at each other. This movie does that very well. Of all of the movies made about guys throwing pink rubber balls at each other, Dodgeball's the best. Smokey and the Bandit's probably second. But I digress. So we have this. So then the question becomes, how can I have Suicide Squad rated the same as, say, Dark Knight? Well, where did I put them? Suicide Squad doesn't pretend to be more than it is. It doesn't pretend to be more than some bubblegum movie about a bunch of villains getting together and walking to some weird, stupid thing that they have to defeat at the stupid end. It doesn't pretend to be more than it is. Dark Knight is this brooding, Oscar-worthy movie about Christian Bale going, and you spend the whole movie going, what? What did he say? Wait, what? Is that English? And you're trying not to laugh at him. And I get it. Heath Ledger put in a fantastic performance as Joker, and I won't deny that at all. But to me, Dark Knight for me gets probably 8 out of 10, and Suicide Squad gets probably about an 8 out of 10. But if I had to watch one right now, and you said, all right, Shan, you got to watch one, I'm probably picking Suicide Squad. Because I know it's a bubblegum movie. I can leave the room for 5 minutes and probably not miss anything. You got Harley Quinn in there, portrayed by the gorgeous Margot Robbie. And in Dark Knight, you've got a lot of depressing, dark, kind of a downer. It's just dark. It's a downer. And there's a few fun moments, but generally it's relentless. And I get why people love Dark Knight. I get it. But opinions are opinions, man. And you're comparing movies that they may exist as both DC movies, but they are not in the same genre. This is a movie that was being made with the idea that we are making a really good movie. This was being made with the idea of we're making a really, really stupid idea into a movie. I don't know how this is going to work. Let's try to see if we can make it work. It's not the same thing. Dark Knight, you have decades. You have decades of material. You have decades of movies and television series and TV shows and cartoons. Suicide Squad, you have some comic books, a couple cartoons, and a bunch of characters that outside of Joker nobody knows. And Joker was awful. I'm not going to make excuses. Joker was awful. And I think that's why some of the scenes got cut. It wasn't Jared Leto's fault. Jared Leto's a very good actor. I think it's the way that they chose to portray Joker that made it not work. They wanted so hard to make it so this isn't Jack Nicholson's Joker that they lost some people, including myself. But Margot Robbie just dives into Harley Quinn, and she's so much fun, and she's very gorgeous. And Christian Bale's very, I'm Batman, and it's goofy. I can't not laugh. That's why I never got through The Dark Knight Rises, because you got, and then you got, I'm Boom. You're who? I'm Boom. Tom Hardy, who's also a great actor, Inception, hello, and they put him behind a mask, and they so you can't understand what he's saying. It's goofy. It's weird and dumb. And it's trying to be this still. It's still trying to be in this genre where movies are good. This is crap. This is funny and this is action, in case you guys are just wondering. So for me, if I'm grading a movie that's supposed to be bubblegum, that's supposed to be whatever, then I'm going to grade it that way. If I'm grading a movie that's supposed to be really, really good, that's supposed to be really solid and really deep, think like Tree of Life. But I think it's a steaming pile of garbage. I'm going to rate it as a steaming pile of garbage. Even if that movie might be better than this one on some level, if you want to compare them on Oscar worthy, sure. But in terms of the movie being what it's supposed to be, no. No. And no. So there you go. There's how I come up with how I rate movies. You got your bubblegum, your hacker slashers, your standard kind of movie. You've got your great movies that are supposed to be great, your Oscar movies, your comedies, and your action movies. And Happy Death Day falls right into here nicely between funny and bubblegum. And it's fun that way. And of course, it patterns itself after Groundhog Day, which might be one of the funniest. And yet, I would argue that Groundhog Day is a 10 and should, at the time it was released, have been considered a very good movie and Oscar-worthy. But comedies normally don't get the respect they deserve. And it's weird, because I'm far more entertained by Groundhog Day, and I can watch that over and over again. I can't say the same of Schindler's List. And yet I would give Groundhog Day a 10 as well. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below in terms of, do you grade movies the same way, or do you just go, every movie has to be graded the same? Because I don't. It is what it's supposed to be. It is what it's supposed to be, but I prefer to watch the bubblegum version because it's easier to digest on repeated viewings. Because, yeah, it's kind of dumb, but it's okay because it's supposed to be kind of dumb. This is just dark. And I don't know very many people who go, man, I'm getting popcorn ready to sit and watch Dark Knight again. Woo! But a Friday the 13th movie? Hells yeah. We're going to have a Friday the 13th marathon. Yeah! Because you know what you're getting. So, that's how I grade things. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll talk to you again soon.